They were rampaging along, won their first 2 games. They've lost their last 2, but they could have probably won both of them.
A fantastic looking facility there in the deep south.
I'm sure they're going to come out firing tonight.
From memory, he was leading last week. Are you going to be leading this week, or?
From bottom with 6 points and second from bottom with 3. Yes and no. Yes and no. It paid off for them. They got a 2, double a 4 and won 6 points. Depends what the teams above them do, doesn't it?
Welcome to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. Today we're going to do a follow-up from the Bowls 3-5 special last week, talking to Mandy Boyd, who is a member of the winning Elmwood Park Saints team. We're going to talk with Keith Setter, who is a loyal Bowls follower, and we're going to talk to Grant Nisbet, who you may have heard on the radio or through the TV on a couple of sports that might be quite popular in this country. First up, we're going to talk to Alex, who's going to give us a little bit of a recap on some listener feedback from last week.
Yes, Erin, I am going to give a bit of a recap on listener feedback from last week. That's fine. It's all good. So, you remember that last week we spoke about tea? Remember that conversation?
Yes,
yeah.
I do.
I didn't think I asked enough about the type of tea they like to have. So, we only asked about, does water go first or milk go first with tea or coffee?
Yeah.
Which is pretty simple because you put the milk in first so that you don't burn your coffee or tea.
You put the hot water in first.
Anyway, so I thought I'd ask our community a question about what coloured tea they like to have, the strength of the tea, because it's a big question in the bowls world. You know, we have a cup of tea at morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner.
Do you have a builder's tea where you leave the tea bag in? Do you have the milkiest milk of tea where you have like a little spritz?
These are the questions. So I think I put a graph up asking between 1 and 8 how you like your tea. 1 being essentially milk, and 8 being very, very dark tea. Yes. And the consensus from the bowling community is we like it between 4 and 5.
Oh, yeah.
Which I think is a fair call. I sort of supported that. Julie from Bowls Waikato and our Commonwealth Games lead liked a 4 with a choicer, a bag of choicer.
Okay. Yes.
And I thought I prefer myself the Kenya bowled. So it was
and no one was doing English breakfast?
Didn't see an English breakfast once, but it was a good conversation. So, if anyone else wants to share their tea, thinking, feel free to go into that. But I thought I was going to ask you, Erin, your weekend a few days ago was a bit busier than mine. I wasn't there, but we had the Bowls 3-5 National Interclub.
We did.
Can you talk to us a bit about how your weekend went, please?
It was quite busy, very, very busy. It was extremely exciting to see the delivery of a national event at the same kind of visual level that we've done for a number of TV sessions on Sky Sport. And I think the special thing about it was that every single club team that was at the event got their time on their streaming rink, and they got their followers at their club could watch their team. We had a message come through to our Facebook from someone who's based over in Chicago who got to see their mum play, that's very special, because when you're living so far away and we've had COVID lockdowns, we haven't been able to travel back and forth as easy as we can. They can still see their family, their mum, their dad, their whatever, playing the sport that they love, and they actually get to sit there and watch it. And visually it looked very, very close to what we've been replicating on TV, which is what we wanted to do, make it a little bit special, make it a bit different, because it is a different competition. It's not one of our normal competitions that we run. So there's just, it's a different experience for everyone. It's nice because you can get people who have played all the different formats. They're at interclubs, they're at intercentres. This is just a different way of competing around bowls, which makes it fun.
Yeah, so we had like that TV rink, and I mean, if the listeners haven't seen it, just go to the Bowls New Zealand website and there'll be things left, right and centre saying Bowls 3-5, and it's on the
watch it here
on the Bowls New Zealand YouTube channel. So we had that TV rink, and it had a number of media walls running down it, which I think looked fantastic.
Yes.
How long does it take to put them up?
Well, I had a lot of help this time. We have to shout out to some people who all looked over at me and went, why did you bring down so many walls? There's a lot of behind the scenes that goes into an event like that, and people go, why bother? But when you see what it delivers, A, on TV to make it look how it does, but B, it just is a different environment for many people too. It just makes it special, makes it a little bit different. So you do put in the time. Probably a couple of hours.
2 hours?
Yeah, putting it up, putting them together, putting them up. The biggest thing is trying to take them down and make sure all the parts go in the right bag. So otherwise you send them back to Bowls New Zealand and I'm the one who has to sort them all out again later, and that's not fun.
Did I hear that they became a sale at one point over the weekend?
Apparently, I didn't see it happen, but apparently a gust of wind came through. It's an indoor venue, but you can open up windows. And apparently a bit of wind blew through and they all fell one after the other like dominoes. Everyone was... they rallied and they got it all back up, because the only time that we actually saw it was when someone was just fiddling around with the very last one, and we're like, what are they doing? Why are they getting... I've just fixed it. What are they doing there? But I'm very grateful for the fact that they got them all back looking lovely again. Didn't happen during play. That would have been entertaining.
It would have been entertaining.
Yeah. But it is. There's a lot. And it's not just the setup around what goes on TV, but when you think about all the... getting 32 teams from around the country to a venue, organising a draw, making sure that everyone gets to get their time on the TV rink, making sure that everyone gets the correct number of games in. You've got buys here, you've got different sections playing at different times as well. There is a lot that goes into it, and it's just you do it because everyone has such a good time doing it, playing when they get there as well. And if they just come in, players can play, they don't have to worry about anything, you've done a good job.
Yeah, absolutely. It looked like it was a good time, and I saw they had Bowlsbury 5 shirts.
Yes.
Is there a story behind them? What was your plan with the Bowlsbury 5 shirts for the teams?
Bowlsbury 5 initially is a concept that we want to put out there into the world for people who don't necessarily follow bowls or have been down to a bowling club or know what bowls really is about. They'll come across it on TV, they'll flick onto a channel and they'll see it and they'll watch it. It gets a little bit tricky when you have all these different coloured sets of bowls, even if they're in the same team. So if we were playing, for example, we could be playing in the mixed pairs. No, I won't. but I could be playing with...
Is that an invitation?
No, I'm playing with Martin if it ever happens. I could be playing with yellow bowls, you could be playing with rainbow bowls, but nothing actually sits there and shows straight away that we are in the same team. And this is kind of where that bowl sticker conversation came out a little bit later. When you are watching something on a screen and you've just flicked onto it and you don't know who's in what team and you don't know what bowl who is playing with, how do you know who's holding shot and how do you know who's in whose team? So that's why we were asking about the bowl stickers, because it is a very, very good visual signal on a screen that there is a team that's this colour and a team that's that colour.
Yeah.
And you can see who is holding shots straight away. And we wanted to be a little bit different in that we wanted the teams to actually adopt a colour. So they'd be team white or they'd be team black, because New Zealand has very good colour schemes and that we can be, we're usually all black when we're out there on the world stage. So we've followed along those lines a little bit. And the shirts themselves came through like that. So they'd either be the white sleeved shirt or the black sleeved shirt. And when you have the shirt colour aligned with the bowl colour and you flick onto a channel and you see exactly what's going on, I think I might be a little bit wrong here. I want to say it was the Kerry and the Masterton game, and they had their shirts matching their bowls, and you could just see it straight away on the green exactly what was going on, and that's exactly what we wanted.
Yeah.
So a little memento that teams get to keep.
Yeah, I was going to ask, did they get to keep them?
Yeah, they got to keep their shirt.
That's great.
Yep,
so as a winner for Bowlsbury 5, you get flown to Wellington, 3-day competition, shirts.
Yep. TV, glamour.
That sounds good. And you said everyone got to go on that TV rink, didn't they? Every
they
team
did.
got to go.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
That's really cool. And it just, it is watched because you hear so many people, around the venue and stuff saying, oh, someone saw me on the TV and someone saw me here and I got seen over there. And it does get a little bit nerve-wracking for some people, but when you think about the fact that they're helping us get our sport out there to a bigger group of people, and these people that might be watching might end up not being bowlers, but they know that their friend is there, and then suddenly they're watching the sport that their friend plays. It's getting them engaged.
It's great for the game, and it's
great for the game.
It's there forever. I had a quick look, and I can say that we had roughly 38,601 views.
Nice.
Over 3 days, which I think
is not bad.
It's not a bad effort. I think
no.
it's a good argument.
Yep.
And there was 9.8 thousand hours watched.
That's
I
a
played
lot of-
1,000 hours of bowls.
That's a lot of TV time watched, isn't it?
People had not much to do over the weekend, is what I'd suggest.
Binge watching. Don't worry, Netflix. We'll take over.
Yeah, it's great. So, essentially, that if you're listening to it and you haven't seen the Bowls 3.5, the Bowls New Zealand YouTube channel is the place to go. Or even if you go onto YouTube and you just search Bowls 3.5, it's going to pop up for you. It's on our website. We'll flick it out as well. And I think going forward, we're using our YouTube channel, aren't we, Erin, for our live streaming?
Yes, we will be. So everything that we do, whichever competition we happen to be at, it's going to be on Bowls New Zealand's YouTube. So you'll be able to find everything there. And the great thing about that is you don't have to worry about trying to catch a replay at a set time. It's there when you want it to be there. You just click it and go. You can pause it. You can come back to it. You can watch it again. And good for your own bowls as well. Yeah. If you've never seen your own bowls on TV and you wanted to see how, a learning tool.
I watched mine. I didn't win that game.
Have you watched too much of yourself, Alex?
It went badly. That's great. And if you want to get reminded as well, I think the subscribe button's important.
Yes.
But I believe on YouTube there's something that looks suspiciously like a bell. And if you click the bell,
it will alert you.
It gives you like a bell. It gives you an alert.
Yeah. So you could be on your phone, or you could be on your smart TV, or you could be at your computer. And as long as you've clicked that little bell, you'll never miss a shot, because it's going to tell you when we've started rolling live.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So who are we talking to next here, and who's up next on the Bowls Hour?
Next up, we're going to be talking to Mandy Boyd about being a member of that Bowls 3-5 winning team, Elmwood Park Saints, because they've been in the TV, they've come second a couple of times, and they finally were able to take out the title the last weekend. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. Now we are speaking with Mandy Boyd, a team member of the Bowls 3-5 Elmwood Park Saints winning team from the weekend. Hi Mandy, how are you?
Hi, good thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. So winning team this weekend, but you guys came into the league back in 2019, around a couple of years ago. What was your initial impressions of the Bowls 3-5 format when you guys came on board?
I loved it right from the start. I think it really does sort of what it's supposed to do, is just show how awesome our sport is. You know, it shows the team side of it, the intenseness. The players are often under such intense pressure, and it's really entertaining to watch too on the weeks when we're not playing. Watching the games. Yeah,
I think that's something people don't acknowledge, is in 5 ends a lot can change and a lot can happen when you're playing a longer format of the game. Sometimes 5 ends is what you take to just get into the swing of things, but in Bowls 3-5 it's done and dusted.
Yeah, well that's it. You sort of change your whole mindset, because in an 18-inning game you can think, we'll take a risk here. If we drop a 3, we've got plenty of time to, but you just sort of can't be. You can be playing as well as you like, and then a power play comes along and it's all over.
It all falls apart. Yeah, that's good. That's good. So I thought we'll just quickly wind back the clock right to the beginning, Mandy. So you've been on the bowls scene for a while now. What was your first taste of bowls? How did you get started in the sport?
I was brought up around bowls. Both my parents played indoor bowls. My dad was a really keen indoor bowler, and Mum was more into outdoor. And there's probably a few bowlers like me, started out going down to the bowling club, get a can of Coke and a bag of chips, and when everyone's finished for the day, you go out and find the smallest bowl you can and have a wee roll up. And and then when my sister Angela started, that's when we really, got quite addicted to it and playing together and competitively. But I think it'll be secondary school bowls that really hooked me into it, getting that feeling of getting down the end of a tournament and the rush of winning those big games and things. And the addiction started there, really.
That's fair enough. And you had quite a bit of success in the secondary school level, didn't you? Did you win a few of the national titles available at the time?
I think my first year I came runner-up, and then I won it twice. So
well done.
It was a good start.
Yeah, that's cool. And how that, if you think about how that felt compared to, say, when you started winning your national titles, can you compare the two feelings? Were they similar?
They probably were, because of the different timings and the different time of the career that it happened. Yeah, I often say that, all the different types of wins that you get along the way, they often, some of my most enjoyable wins haven't necessarily been at the biggest, most important tournaments that there are. I think it's just that feeling of winning and often how you win as well, if it comes down to the wire, those ones can be a bit more special as well. So, yeah.
That's interesting. Good. Okay, so Bowls 3-5 this weekend, or last weekend, sorry. It's not coming up, it's been. You're part of the Elmwood Parks Saints team that was successful in winning it. Can you tell us a bit about your weekend? How did it go? Like, when did it start and how did it feel and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, so it was awesome. We loved it. It was quite interesting. Originally, Gary was meant to be skipping our team, and Lance wasn't playing. He was meant to be looking after the kids, actually.
Oh, no.
But it worked out well because my mum was there, so that was all good. So Gary was just a wee bit unwell, but, you couldn't ask for a better coach, manager, person to be on the side of the rink helping. So that worked out fine. And, so we got off to a pretty good start with a couple of wins. Lance played some absolute amazing bowls throughout the tournament. Calvin and I sort of struggled a wee bit on the first couple of days, just finding our feet a wee bit. But Lance kept us in there, and it was a really good team effort. And so, yeah, we loved it.
Yeah, how did you find the atmosphere at this year's? Because we never had obviously the television league got pandemicked, which was unfortunate. So we didn't have a TV league this year just gone by. So we're trying to make this weekend special. How did you find the atmosphere at this event?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, there was a lot more teams there playing than what there usually is. So that was cool. And how the TV rink was set up, it made it feel like you were sort of still in that sort of atmosphere that we had previously, which was quite cool because it just raised, even in those round robin games, it sort of raised the intensity a wee bit. And I think we did really well. I mean, it was obviously a shame we couldn't do the original one, but I think Bowls New Zealand did a really good job of making it a really good environment. Yeah.
We're not even paying you to say that. That's great. So how did it feel like you won the final? What was the feeling of, how did it feel to win this National Bowls 3-5 Interclub final thing?
Yeah, it was great. It was exciting. Obviously a wee bit of relief in there. not that just because of obviously the two finals that we'd had, but to have won it sort of makes those finals that we lost, look a wee bit better because it's just that consistency and it hasn't been just us three players that were out on the rink over the weekend, but our whole team along the way. Like we're lucky to have a really strong club at Elmwood and everyone's really proud to be part of Elmwood. So it was cool. It was cool for the club, and it was just a really awesome way to sort of end the season.
Yeah. What sort of feedback have you had from your club and family and friends after your win? Have you had many messages?
Yeah, they've been really excited. We've had heaps of messages from back at the club, and they were really stoked. We had Steve Ditford, who was sending messages back to them all along the way, letting them know the scores and end by end stuff at some time. So they've been following and are really stoked about it. So that's really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. So the other thing we wanted to chat to you about, Erin found it, is you've got a talent in, what did you say, Erin? Painting.
Outside of the bowls world, you're a painter.
Can you talk to us a bit about that, Mandy, please?
Yeah, so right through school and everything, I've had a focus on art and painting and all things creative, and I then went to university and I did a 4-year Bachelor of Fine Arts at Massey in Wellington, and I sort of put that down for a while, and I got into early childhood and had wee girls and was kept busy with bowls and things obviously as well, and now that we've moved back to Wellington and the girls are at school in kindy during the day, I've picked it back up again. And so I do commission work. I do some original paintings that have been in exhibition, and now I've just started up doing live wedding paintings. So go along to weddings and paint the day as it happens, and take the painting back home, do a few finishing touches, and it's quite a cool new sort of thing that they're doing over in the US and a couple in Australia and that, but not so much here in New Zealand yet. So
that's an amazing idea. Yeah. So if someone wants to go and find that, how do they find your art thing?
Yes, so
where do they look?
So there's lots of different places, but probably my website is a good place to start. So that's mandyboydartist.co.nz, or else on Facebook it's just Mandy Boyd Artist.
It was Facebook. I found it. It was incredible. Your little time lapse of turning up to a wedding and then starting the painting and then the finish. It would be such a special way for people to remember their day outside of your standard photographies and Instagrams and wedding hashtags and stuff like that. They've got an original piece of art that just captures the moment there because you're there. It looked so cool. It looked amazing. Yeah.
I think people quite like because it's a bit of entertainment on the day as well.
Yeah.
So it does. It has lots of different cool aspects to it. So, yeah,
that's very cool. Great. If anyone's getting married, wants a live painting, hit up Mandy.
Thanks for
that. Okay, so we're going to segue now to the final question, and it's a big segue to be fair. So we ask everyone on this podcast sort of a bonus question. I wanted to ask about garden gnomes last week, but I wasn't allowed, so we asked about tea instead. So my question this week is toilet paper on the roll. Do you have it over?
Forward. Over the top.
You didn't even need to be asked the second option.
This is great.
I am like 0 for 4 on this. Yeah.
That's good. I agree.
What do you guys do?
I do under.
It has to be an over.
Do you?
Yeah, I think it looks messy hanging over.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you just got to tuck the corners up. That would be. Make it a bit fancier.
Yeah, exactly. You feel like you're in a hotel.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Mandy.
Cool, no worries at all.
All the best for your next bowls competitions and for all of your painting that you're doing.
Thanks for that.
Yes. Awesome.
Cool.
Thank you. And congratulations once again on winning.
Thanks. Thank you.
No worries. See you, Mandy.
Okay. See you.
And coming up next is Keith Setter to chat to us about what it's like to attend the Commonwealth Games as a spectator here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. On the line now we have Keith Setter. Keith is the holder of 3 national indoor bowls titles and also attended the last Commonwealth Games up in the north in Glasgow, and he's going to just have a little conversation with us today, isn't he?
Yes, how are you, Keith? Are you well?
Yep, great, thanks. And what about yourselves?
Yeah, we're okay. You sound good. You sound happy on the phone, so that's always a good start. So I thought... For those of you those of the listeners who don't know you, because you're an indoor bowler, sort of first and foremost, could you just sort of talk us through your sort of history in the indoor game and your first sort of taste and view of outdoor bowls as well?
Okay, so when I was about 13, I discovered I had a small hole in my heart. So my dream of becoming an All Black was there and ended. And so I was looking for other sports to do that weren't quite so strenuous. And a couple of mates at school said, "Oh, we're going to indoor bowls tonight." And I said, "Oh, you mean like 10 pin?" And they said, No, like on a mat. And I was like, hey, I'd actually be quite good at that because I played at carpet bowls since I was about 5. I might come along and have a go. And I've been hooked for the last 45 years playing the game.
That's a good answer. That's good.
Got a few more years for you to go, Alex.
Yeah, I'll get there. So outdoor bowls, you don't play it. Is there a reason?
Oh, look, I don't. I have played quite a bit of business house, and I really enjoyed it. I think the concept's amazing, and I think based on the amount of teams that play in that, it's certainly filling a need. The main reason I tend not to play outdoors because I really struggle in the heat of the summer sun, and I prefer not to feel uncomfortable. And to be fair, over the years I played a little bit of cricket in summer, and if you're playing cricket in summer and indoor bowls in winter, you're basically busy the whole time, and I needed a bit of time to myself.
Yeah, that works too. But you've had some coaching experience in outdoor, Keith?
Yeah, I have actually. I had the absolute honour of having something to do with the two Boyd girls who have subsequently and were at the time, one of them was playing for New Zealand, the other has, through my association, I'd like to think I helped her get into the New Zealand team. Both incredible girls, and at the end of the day, their skills and their dedication won through, and obviously they've attained the highest honour, which from my point of view, because I've never played outdoor, it was basically mental toughness and talking around experiences so they could better understand perhaps how to react in a pressure-filled moment.
That was cool. So did you find that, what was that like as an experience, that few years?
I just think, because I knew both the girls personally, it was a very easy transition, if you like, from the point of view that I only ever offered things that when they asked, I was very close to them and wanted them to just do well. As I said, both girls had great abilities, incredibly different people, and that in itself was a challenge, but they, I think, appreciated the chance to have just quiet chats when things weren't perhaps going right, or other quiet chats when they were going great, and, just giving them a little bit of self-confidence in some cases. From my perspective, it was actually really straightforward. It was like having a conversation with a long-lost friend about what they love doing. So, really doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So we sort of alluded to the fact in the build-up, everyone knows there's a Commonwealth Games coming up way up north this year. And you were at the last ones that were up north in 2000, whenever Glasgow was.
Yes.
Could you just have a chat with us? What's it like as a spectator to go up to the Commonwealth Games and watch the bowls?
Well, for me, the main takeaway I remembered back to those times was the inclusivity of the sport and what the Blackjacks were doing. They really appreciated the support, and as an individual, they made me feel very welcome. I was with a group of three of us, and they couldn't have been happier to see us. They obviously wanted us to be part of something which we felt a strong sense of pride about. And I think just because bowlers are a very inclusive bunch generally, at the end of the day, it was sort of a benefit to both sides for us to be there. It was an awesome experience to watch Mandy play the last bowl of the game to win a bronze medal for New Zealand was incredible. Obviously, I had a sense of pride with that as well. But at the end of the day, the whole experience was just out of this world, because it was the highest level, and yet the people involved were very, very inclusive and very, very welcoming.
That's awesome. So was it always a plan? Like, did you go? Was it on a whim that you went to the Commonwealth Games, or had you planned it a bit beforehand?
Well, at the time, if I remember rightly, Mandy had been selected. I think both Mandy and Angela had been picked in the squad, and then the team was narrowed down to from the squad to the team, and Mandy made the team and Angela didn't. And it was just fortuitous at the time where I just said to both Angela and her mother Linda, "Hey, let's go to Scotland and support Mandy." And so we did. We made arrangements and we went.
That's amazing.
So it was an amazing opportunity, incredible trip. I think we all thoroughly enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, you can't do anything about memories. You've got them forever. And that was one of the highlights in my memories anyway.
Yeah, for sure. So up north, slower greens up there, weren't they? What was it like to watch the bowlers play on those different greens to New Zealand ones? Was it weird as a spectator to see that game, and how do you think it's different to the one we play down here?
Yeah, no, not largely different. I think let's not make a pretty simple game difficult. At the end of the day, it's still weight and green, and at that level, you'd expect most people to be well versed. I know, having hands-on coaching with Ange, we spent many hours on a croquet green in Napier in the middle of winter, bowling on 8-second greens to try to adjust to what we thought was going to be 10 to 12-second greens. And there didn't seem to be any problems with the way that the Blackjacks had prepared. I think they did pretty well overall. I can't remember exactly all the results, but at the end of the day, they were well prepared, and I think they knew what to expect, and they went there, and most of them did the job.
Yeah, for sure. So, like, as a spectator, is there anything? Obviously, there's going to be people looking to go to the Commonwealth Games this year. I think, like, tricks of the trade or things that you would do differently this time round, or hints that you'd give out to those looking to go to the Com Games up north this year.
Well, I was a little bit of an elitist. All I went to see, did I even watch anything else? Or maybe I did. I just wanted to watch Mandy and the bowls, so I was fairly sort of focused on that. And I would just recommend just go. If you get an opportunity, just if you can go and have a look at what bowls has to offer at the highest level. Basically, the skill, the people, and the atmosphere is absolutely dynamic. It's well worth any money you might put out just to go and have that experience.
Just the sort of vibe around the place.
Oh, look, it isn't high octane sevens or anything like that, but what it is an incredible amount of skillful people enjoying themselves, but playing at a level that most people just would be blown away by.
Is there anything else? You've spoken to us about Mandy's bowl, and it was a great bowl too to win that bronze medal match in the women's fours at the Commonwealth Games. Are there any key moments that stick out to you from that trip, be they bowls related or not?
Bowls related, I guess getting the bronze medal was a highlight because of my association. However, on the way out of Glasgow at the airport, I'm pretty sure I saw Usain Bolt and his entourage, so that was a little bit different.
Oh, that would have been cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I mean, as a complete aside, I mean, those are the things that can happen when you're in the area. Like, who would have thought?
Was he walking quickly?
I had to jog to try to catch up. No, I didn't. he had plenty of minders around him, so it's all good.
That's great. Okay, Keith, I've got one more question. I've got a bonus question to ask.
Well, it sounds like a bonus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Here we go.
By definition. So, right, toilet paper rolls. We all know what they look like. When they're on the toilet paper holder, do you prefer the toilet paper to be over or under and touching the wall?
There is no choice. It's over every single time. Do not touch the wall. Don't be ridiculous.
No, I'm going to disagree there. It just looks messy.
Yeah, and you've said 4 words and 2 of them being negative toward me. How rude.
Sorry, Keith. Sorry.
That's all right. I'll let you insist this once, but it is only toilet paper, let's face it.
No, that's awesome. Thank you so much for talking with us today, Keith. Greatly appreciated for you taking the time.
Hey, thanks very much for inviting me. Cheers.
No worries.
Thanks,
Thank you. And coming up next, we've got Grant Nisbet here on the Bowls Hour. Welcome back to the Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel. Alex, who have we got up next?
We've got someone that a few people may know, Erin, Grant Nisbet, on the line. Thank you for agreeing to come on to the show, Grant. My first question, I thought we'll start at the beginning, is what's your first taste or recollection of bowls?
G'day, Alex. Yeah, well, it was actually playing a gala day, and I think most people probably start that way. I live in Wellington, of course, and in the eastern suburbs, there was a club called Seatoon, and I got invited to play at a gala day. And it really started there, I think. It was kind of in the late 80s, and I've taken it from there. I didn't play a lot of bowls, obviously, with the job that I have. I wasn't able to play too much in the weekends, so in the early days, it was more sort of playing gala days, et cetera, but I've never lost the love of the game, and it's been fantastic over the last, about 30 or 5 years or so.
Yeah, long may it continue. So were you the celebrity guest at the gala, or were you just sort of Joe Bloggs turning up to...
No, look, I was just Joe Bloggs. Seatoon in those days was a very powerful club, and I think you pretty much had to get on a waiting list to get into the joint. Not quite the same these days, and I think most bowling clubs are finding it the same way, but no, I was just a local bloke who wanted to have a crack at
it. Fair enough. And I presume have you upgraded your bowls since those early days, Grant? Are they a bit different now?
Well, I was lucky enough to have a brother-in-law who represented New Zealand, a guy called Peter Shaw, who represented New Zealand at the Commonwealth Games in 1990 and won, I think, 5 or 6 national titles, et cetera, and he had some spare bowls, and he gave me some old classics, and I used those for a number of years. But of course, nowadays the modern bowl is a much narrower bowl. You don't see players using classics very often. Every now and again you do.
I always dread it.
Yeah, well, I think most people do, and particularly in the wind, because of course they take off, and you've got to go so damn wide, and trying to get it right, it's so much easier with the narrow bowls.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So, what club do you play for now, Grant? You started off at the Gala Day somewhere in Wellington. What's
Seatoon.
What did you say?
Seatoon.
Yes, that one.
Yeah, Seatoon. Yeah, well, I'm actually still a member at Seatoon, but I've also joined Nine because it means that I can play at the indoor arena in the winter, et cetera, et cetera. So I've got dual membership.
Excellent. And how have you found those clubs? Has it been like for the 901 in particular, because that's a covered facility that's been around, 3 or 4 years now. Has that made a difference to that club and their membership, do you think?
Oh, I think it has, yes. I mean, there are still quite a few social members, I think. I mean, I've got a few mates who don't play bowls, who just go along there on a Saturday because it's a great social environment with the TAB there, et cetera, et cetera. So, no, look, it's a progressive club. I can remember playing at the old 99 club many years ago, and they've moved, obviously, and it's a wonderful facility. It really is, with 3 outdoor greens, of course, and the indoor arena. And so much else going on there. It's a fabulous club.
Yeah. Have you had an opportunity to have roll up on their new carpet yet, Grant?
Yeah, I have actually. I played a gala there last Tuesday, and just 2 or 3 days before the 3-5, of course, and they've upgraded it. It was a wee bit slow in the early days. I think most people recognise that. Certainly injected a lot more speed into the bowl, which can only be good.
Yeah, for sure. It's easier. I hate falling short, It's frustrating.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, the great bane of bowlers is bowling short. You did, right?
You go, I've let it go. Typical. So you've had a on and off career, obviously, with your job and bowls, but what are the career highlights if you look back over the last 20, 30 years of sort of playing? Is there anything that sticks out to you that you're particularly proud of or pleased with?
Oh, look, it's not winning titles or anything because, a modest bowler like myself doesn't win too many titles, but I think it's some of the players you play against. I've been lucky enough to play the Taranaki Open for about the last 7 or 8 years, and it's been fantastic to play against some really good players. And on the odd occasion, you can be in a team that beats a good team, and that's a real thrill. Played in a few national championships, went down to Dunedin a few years ago and played in the singles, pairs and fours. We thought if we're going to go all that way down, we might as well play in everything.
Yeah.
Played in the Nationals at Tauranga a few years ago and managed to qualify, which was fantastic. So, look, I think just playing in the big tournaments is a lot of fun. I generally try and play, if I can, in the Wellington Open Championships. I'm not particularly interested in playing in the singles, but I do enjoy playing in the pairs and the triples and the fours, so you can have a lot of fun. Yeah,
and your national fours team, it's got a couple of people who are comfortable behind a mic, doesn't it, Grant? How did that come about? How did you decide to put that national fours team together?
Oh, look, it's just basically mates. I mean, that's the idea, isn't it? I mean, we've got a guy who's Simon Poppleton, who lives in Auckland these days, who's generally speaking is our skip. And he's a fantastic bloke. Doesn't like travelling a lot though. He doesn't like aeroplanes, so it makes it a bit difficult. Yeah, exactly. And of course John Macbeth, and John and I played many years ago at Seatoon, and he's carried on, and now he's the president at Raumati, I think it is, and doing a great job there. We've had 1 or 2 others come in. Mark Benton from Kapiti Coast. We're not world beaters, but we just enjoy ourselves, and every now and again we have some great wins.
Yeah, get a scalp. There's a great photo from that Tauranga National Fours that I think Erin took, and it must have been during one of your wins because you all look pretty
chuffed.
you look pretty pleased.
Yeah, we had a great time up there because we struck Morris Symes' team in our section play, and they beat us by 1. Yeah. And then you wouldn't believe it. We ended up having to play them again, I think, in the second round of the post section, and they beat us by 1 again. So we were chuffed. We were chuffed because they were a good side, and to get that close on 2 occasions. It's always disappointing not to get over the line, but to actually give them some decent competition, that was fantastic.
Yeah, it's good signs. So you're known pretty well as a commentator, and you've had a go at bowls as well. Is it a different sport to commentate to the other ones, or it was all sort of much of a muchness?
Oh, no, it's a lot different to rugby, obviously. Rugby goes at a million miles an hour. Bowls, it's much more relaxed. But I feel if you're a bowler, then you can turn that into, you can turn that into commentary. And I think John McBeth feels the same way. You know, you can anticipate maybe when a guy's standing on the mat or a lady standing on the mat, you can anticipate what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
You can have a look at the head and say, well, you know, it's better to go the backhand than the forehand on this occasion. And, you know, if they move the jack back and all this sort of stuff, you know, I think if you've played the game, it makes it a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that. And it's good to hear you guys when we've had you on the commentary. We had the Bowls 3-5 last weekend at Wellington 9. Did you pop your head in to have a look? Did we get you on the mic?
Yeah, I did. I went out on the Saturday and had a lot. I didn't see a lot of the bowls. I managed to run into a few blokes in the bar that I hadn't seen for a wee while. But they had it live streaming up on the TV sets in the bar area anyway, so I was able to keep an eye on it. But it looked like it was a really successful tournament.
Yeah, we're pleased with sort of how it went. Aaron, do you want to talk to that? I saw you take a breath in.
No. I was just going to say it's good that even though you've got the game happening out on in the indoor arena, they've always got it up on the screens as well, which means that it's there for everyone. You don't have to worry about nipping back out and nipping back in. You go down to the club to go watch some bowls, and you might get caught up in the bar, but you can still sit there
watch
and
the
see
bowls,
it on TV. Yeah.
Oh, perfect arrangement. Had the bowls on one screen and both TV racing channels on the other two. I mean, what more can you ask for?
Exactly.
Sounds like heaven.
A little bit of heat maybe in the indoor arena would be nice at times, but
yeah, it can get a little bit chilly.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if you're in there in the summer and you're wondering, it's hard to get the right balance, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's cool. Okay, we've got a bonus question for you now, Grant, that we ask everyone every week on this podcast. We ask people slightly different questions. So last week we asked them how they take their tea and coffee. This week the question is toilet paper on a toilet roll. Do you like the paper to go over or under? So is it against the wall? Over. Yeah.
I'm losing this one, eh?
That's a good. I firmly agree with the stance.
There's
Cool.
no question
Definitely
about
over.
it. Yeah, there's no question about it there. Oh, thank you so much for taking the time for talking to us, Grant. Greatly appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you out there on the greens, whether it be gala day or championship club level. It's really great to have lots of different people from walks of life on the greens. I'm definitely losing this toilet paper conversation because I'm an under, not an over. I think over looks messy.
Yeah, so is that your only logic?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I can imagine unrolling it, and you can't unroll it don't ask me why I'm unrolling it, but you can't. Yeah, no, we're not going to go there. To me it just looks. I'm an under. My toilet rolls hang under, and to me it just looks messy if they're hanging over. I don't know if it's because I'm going to say under, and that's it.
You're just an under, and that's it.
Under, and that's
fair
it.
enough.
I'm sorry.
I'm over to the point where if I'm in a bathroom situation,
Yeah.
and the toilet roll is wrong,
Yeah.
which is against the wall,
Yeah.
I'll fix it for them.
What if you offend someone?
I'm fixing it. I'm correcting the situation.
Wow, you think you're
And
correcting the situation.
They can be grateful to me for doing so.
Wow, they might not be. They might be highly offended there. On that note, thank you everyone for joining us on this episode of the Bowls Hour, the show for all things bowls. If you are listening to this podcast, remember to share it around, and we can be found here every week, as well as on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music, Facebook, the Bowls New Zealand website, or wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in next week for more talk about everything bowls, and until then, roll on.
They were rampaged along, won their first two games. They've lost their last two, but they could have probably won both of them.
Fantastic looking facility there in the deep south.
I'm sure they're going to come out firing tonight.
From memory, he was leading last week. Are you going to be leading this week, or?
Second for bottom with 6 points and second for bottom with 3. Yes and no. Yes and no. It paid off for them. They got a 2, double the 4 and won 6 points. Depends what the teams above you do, doesn't it?
The Bowls Hour, brought to you by Somerset Retirement Villages and Dynasty Apparel.